Welcome to the Big Blue Offensive Podcast with Mike Trainer, Jay Jules, and John Depot.
And also VIN. What's up, Giants fan? Welcome to the BBONYG Podcast. I'm Mike. That's Jules. That's VIN. Guys, Super Bowl Sunday happened. I did not hit one box, but I did bet Seattle like Jules did. Jules gave me the motivation to bet them. I did bet them live wagering after I seen the start of the game, how Drake May looked like complete trash. He had nobody to throw the ball to, no time to throw. I don't even think Stephon Diggs or Hunter Henry caught a pass that game. I don't even know what happened to that offense, but it's a complete joke. I don't really like watching really defensive field goal games for a Super Bowl for a full half and going into the third quarter. I found they're like a little bit boring. But listen, I think we all kind of figured Seattle would win. They're just a better team. So what were your guys' thoughts on the Super Bowl?
Well, my man Sammy D coming through, bro. Shout out to Sam Darnold, all right? But second thing was, I think it was the first time I ever fucking really went crazy analyzing the spread of this game, because I started looking at playing with the point spread, right? And like literally, if you tried to move it down beyond three, it was below three, I should say. It was fucking like it was jacked up, and they were fucking taking so much on the VIG. And then if you went the other way and added 2 points to the spread, just because it was still under 7, you weren't getting shit for your money. And I was like, wait a minute. So if I take 2 points away, I got to pay almost double. But if I add 2 points and say that they're going to beat the spread by more, all of a sudden, like I'm not getting shit for it. It's still even money. And that's what I started scratching my head. I said,
that's a telltale sign.
That was it. That was the one that sold it for me, because I was like, yo, fuck that. Obviously, Vegas feels pretty strong that they're going to cover this 4.5. Like that spoke to me. Yeah. So that's why I was like, you know what? I was talking Seattle the whole time. I let all the hype prior sort of like get in my head a little bit. And we're going to talk a little bit about the MVP and the Hall of Fame votings and all that type of shit. But man, I let some of that persuade me going into this Super Bowl. And I'm glad at the last minute I came to my senses and realized, no, fuck that. Stick with Seattle. Look, to kind of say what you were saying about it being a boring game, you know what? I thought last year was more boring, to be quite honest with you. I think that the fact that it just gets overlooked because, you've been hearing so much hype around the Eagles. You had this dynasty of Kansas City going for a repeat, and everybody wanted to see them lose. But last year's game, you had this great Hall of Famer already in his early part of his career, and Hall of Fame coach, and this great dynasty of the Kansas City Chiefs being dominated the entire game. It was fucking boring. There was nothing going on. The Eagles whooped their ass from beginning to end. In this game, now say what you want, maybe you are more of an offensive fan versus a defensive fan. This was a good defensive battle. I mean, they kept fucking holding Seattle out of the fucking end zone and keeping that Patriots that team in that game for 3 fucking straight quarters, man. And like, that kid Christian Gonzalez, hats off. He might be one of the best cover corners in the NFL right now. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to hype him up like that. He was making plays where I'm like, oh shit, they got him. He's beat. And I don't give a fuck who was throwing the ball. Dan Marino could have been whipping that shit. He still knew how to break on the ball perfectly and knock those passes away. So, I mean, like, hats off to that Patriots defense. Look, they just ran into a better fucking all-round football team. I've been saying it for weeks. Seattle's defense. The key there was if Sam Darnold just fucking, like, lost his shit and ended up turning the ball over 3 or 4 or 5 times or something, then maybe they may have blown that game. Outside of that, they were the better team. NFC was better. I mean, look, people complain about the Super Bowl being boring. To me, it's boring seeing the same fucking teams in there every fucking season. So, I think that's what the problem is the NFL gets scared and they hype up these dynasties in the AFC because they're the only ones that are able to compete. And then we get these so-called decent games. But for the most fucking part, the AFC is trash. And I'm going to fucking start saying that. AFC is trash. The NFC is where it's at. And that fucking is shown all the time. Unless they have these dominant fucking runs in with their Super Bowl, the fucking AFC is garbage. The dynasty runs of the fucking Patriots and the Chiefs. Come on. No one else wins in that fucking bullshit-ass conference.
I don't know if I live in the Matrix, but I think we just had an argument at the last podcast where like the NFC has always been better, and you yelled at me, and you were like, "No, it hasn't. Look at the
Let's go to
Patriots.
the
Look at the
tape.
Chiefs." Do you guys remember that conversation? Now he comes
But I
on and
said, but
opens
look,
with this.
I've come to the conclusion now
You know who
after
you're
this
talking to,
Super
right?
Bowl. Okay, it took this Super Bowl to give me the convincing.
Or maybe I planted the seed in your brain, and you didn't like it
It
coming
was
from
back
me.
here somewhere, and like it just kept growing.
Vin, you're living in an alternative reality right now.
Oh man, I guess I
They
am.
call it the Mandela effect.
I got to tell
Yeah,
you,
that's it.
I agree with a lot of what Jules said. I went to work on Monday, and every person was like, "What a boring Super Bowl." I'm like, "Get the fuck away from me." I thought it was a great game. I like defense. I didn't find it boring. The first half, there was clean. Yo, there were no penalties. They refed it the right way. A dude threw a punch at another guy. The ref broke it up, no flag. Like I was like, this is physical. This is hard-nosed football. Now, New England's defense did their part. Seattle's defense did their part. Seattle's run game did their part. Special teams. Oh my God, the punter for Seattle. What a
He
punter
should have
that
got the
guy was
MVP.
doing. It was a game of
Him and the
field-
kicker split
it
it.
was a game of field position. It was like old school football. It was like a mid-season, week 7, like knockout game. The only unit that didn't do their part was New England's offense, and it was their quarterback. They have been fortunate all year. They have played in a weak division. They played the Bills obviously didn't bring it this year. They played in a weaker conference. They've gotten I always say 70% of a team's success is their schedule. In the playoffs, they got CJ Stroud with four picks, 4 turnovers. They got Stidham in the championship game, which they almost lost that one too if Peyton didn't screw it up. Like they were lucky to even be there, and they just found a team that smashed them right in the mouth that they deserved to get weeks ago. They deserved it weeks ago. Now, Darnold, there was a difference in that Darnold seemed to be a little bit more at ease that he was under pressure. He was stepping up more in the pocket. And then he had a running back. I gotta tell you, Kenny Walker, very paid. There was one run there I saw where he just waited for the hole to emerge, and then he hit it. Like Kenny Walker, I really wish he had that touchdown to really solidify his MVP. But he had a run game going from there. These were the subtle differences in a close game like that. I love the defensive performance by both teams. I love the field goal. I love the field positioning. I love that they were punting so much. I like that stuff. We don't see enough of it. And I agree with Jules. Last year's Super Bowl is completely unmemorable to me. I hated both teams. We just remember Philly just killed no tackles for Mahomes or for Kansas City, and Philly just whooped them from the beginning. And I don't want to see that. And to me, it's unmemorable. At least this one, I'm like, the games are good. Those boxes didn't move much for people because the score didn't move so much.
Yeah.
But I liked it. I thought it was a good game. I thought it was clean. I thought the coaching was conservative and nobody was doing anything crazy, no trickery, nothing.
I see
I
your
was
points.
perfectly. What was that?
I see your points on that. Both
Yeah, like I thought it was just a great game.
But
Yeah,
I think we got
coaches.
robbed though of a better game. If I think Denver, should have been there. I think
The Rams should have been
Seattle
there.
bad game. I mean, yeah, but I mean, if Denver going against Seattle, say the Rams, whatever, they don't make it. But Denver and Seattle would have been, I think, a better
Yeah.
Super Bowl than
But
that.
I will say this though,
Denver's
let me
defense
just
was
bring
better.
it. Let me just
And
close.
I think May was hurt too with his shoulder. I think that's
an excuse, but I think the kid was overmatched. And the line, the left side for the line, Will Campbell, even the veteran Bradbury, the center, they were getting overmatched. They weren't even giving May a shot. So you got to look at the line too. Campbell's getting pancaked in the first quarter. But I will say this: there was no juice going into this game. Like the last time Seattle and the Patriots met, it was Tom Brady versus Russell Wilson. Legion of Boot, Marshawn Lynch, Edelman, uh, all these wonderful star power. The NFL doesn't have in this game. They didn't have that star power. The quarterbacks were unknowns or comeback stories. The biggest star was probably JSN, and he didn't really do much. He was kind of hurt in and out, hobbled, concussion 1 minute, messed up ankle the next. Like there was no star power. No star power. So there was a lot, and even when they won the game, I don't know if you guys watched the podium between Darnold, the owner, the GM, McDonald, the coach. They were boring. They were very vanilla with everything that they, even in their
Good.
celebration, they were very vanilla. Now you could, I guess it's very Seattle if you want to, if like I would like that. If I was a fan, I'd be like, hell yeah. I don't want my guys to be over celebratory and stuff like that. But you know what?
Exactly.
Watching, if you're a casual fan watching, it's kind of like I don't know. It's like that's what makes it boring. The biggest star or the biggest drama was the halftime show and Stephon Diggs and Cardi B. Like that, it's the circus that people care about. And you know what? I say right here, all the podcasters listening because I know they're real football fans. F the casuals. They come 1 week to watch one game and shit on. And if it doesn't entertain them for that one night that they're eating their nachos and their wings, that they shit on the game. I thought the game on Sunday was well played by two good teams. Could we have gotten anything better? Not every game's going to be close. You know what I mean? Like Jules said, AFC was far, vastly inferior to the NFC. Seattle went to a gauntlet to get where they were. You know what I mean? New
Well,
England did not.
here, and I like I do like what you were touching on with the star power. They didn't expect all these AFC quarterbacks to not make it. You know what I mean? When you look back on it, right, and you sit there and you say, okay, I can hang my hat on Joe Burrow's star power. I can hang my hat on Pat Mahomes. I can hang my hat on the reigning MVP and Josh Allen. I can hang my hat on the fucking two-time MVP and Lamar Jackson. Right? Like, all that star power, they didn't make it. They didn't make it past the fucking divisional round. You know what I mean? So now, okay, what's the next safest thing? Let's take a well-recognized franchise and let's fucking hope that they can get it, right? Because that's what it was all about for that AFC. And New England was a recognizable name. You could kind of make them out to be the villain.
The coach is recognizable. The coach
Well,
is.
no, the Patriots, just the Patriots, like the name. Like, think about it.
Yeah.
You know what? Like if you look at like a franchise like the Yankees, they're just recognizable, right? Like no matter what you go from decade to decade and the stars change, but the name doesn't. And that's what they were trying to bolster this Patriots team up to be. And in a way, I'm glad that it backfired because they were putting way too much emphasis on almost trying to sell this as the next Brady and Belichick, with Vrabel and fucking May. And it's like, hold the fuck on. You know what I mean? Slow down, pump the brakes. I know we mentioned this last week or 2 weeks ago, and we said that anytime, or maybe I did this off air, I can't remember at this point, but I know the discussion happened where anytime you see this dramatic of a turnaround, where you saw a team drafting in the top 5 the year of, and then making it all the way to the Super Bowl. San Francisco did it not too long ago and losing to the Chiefs a couple of years back when they drafted Nick Bosa, number 2 overall, and then they fucking made it to the Super Bowl that year. And they were injuries and this and that. Blah, 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 blah. But the point is that any of those teams that have that miraculous of a turnaround and then end up running the division, sometimes they get that lead because they were such a shitty team that the majority of their schedule is a lot easier. So now once you're in the playoffs, anything can fucking happen. And you look historically, any of those type of teams, they always lose. And they always lose pretty bad or convincingly in that Super Bowl. It just happens. You take a look at Seattle, they've been up and coming. They won 9 games and they won 10 games. They've been just chipping away and getting better and getting
different
better.
quarterbacks.
Different quarterbacks, different coaches. You know what I'm saying? So like they made the proper changes and then they came together and they went on to fucking win and make the run. That's what football's all about. You know what I'm saying? And I was so happy to see different teams in there. I was hoping it wouldn't have been the Patriots. I was starting just getting nausea because I was like, man, if they fucking somehow win this fucking game, bro, forget it. Like they're gonna destroy football, and yet they couldn't. Now, real quick, weird fucking fun fact that like now people are starting to throw out there, but 2 of the quarterbacks still actually play in the NFL. So there's 3 guys that could break this jinx, if you would. But there have now been 5 quarterbacks to make the Super Bowl in their second season and never went back to that Super Bowl. Dan Marino, Colin Kaepernick, Joe Burrow, Brock Purdy, and Drake May. Now, look, the last 3, they can very easily be in the Super Bowl next fucking year. However, it is kind of interesting to hear that fun fact thrown out there. Let's see. The new thing would be, let's see who breaks the 2-year curse.
Jules, that's interesting. We're in sync tonight. That's interesting. You brought that up. I didn't know that. I was gonna say right after you were done that I don't think Drake May and Vrabel, this Patriot team, ever goes back to the Super Bowl. I don't think they ever go back. I was like everything just broke their way this year, and I'm like it was just very fortunate, and I'm like there's no way something like this is ever gonna happen for them unless they get a lot better. And Drake May could very well get a lot better. He's young and he had a great regular season, but again, the whole time I'm like they didn't play anybody. These were two teams that I would have never have picked to go to the Super Bowl ever at any point this
Nobody
year.
did, Ben. This year,
No,
it was like they were both 60-1 odds.
And honestly, they're the two teams I watched the least. I watched
a decent
Seattle,
Seattle midway through the season.
Yeah, you got onto Seattle
Yeah.
for a while there, and you started getting. I was like, no way. I was Rams all the way. I thought the Rams would have given us a better Super Bowl.
But another fun fact that the Patriots prior to the playoffs were 1-2 against winning teams.
Right. Talk about an easy
You know what I mean? And then they beat the Chargers.
Man.
They beat the Chargers with a banged up offensive line, right? Then they beat Houston. They beat Houston at home, but they got the perfect setting with the snow and the weather and blah blah. And CJ Stroud is not fucking having his head in the game. And then they played a backup quarterback in Denver and almost lost that game.
It's unbelievable. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. I don't think they ever go back. I really don't think they ever go back.
Oh, and one last thing about the Super Bowl. If there's anyone listening that has any kind of fucking ties to sports betting in New York, what the fuck? Why can't we bet the MVP? That fucking pissed me off. I wanted Ken Walker so fucking badly for MVP. We hyped it up. We were putting that shit on a pedestal. We looked back to see who was the last running back to win a fucking MVP award. We were fucking literally laying that one up. I go to try to drop that bet, and you can't get it in when you're in fucking New York. I had to run across the river to fucking get it done.
Could you guys make an argument that it could have went to anybody else, like on the defense?
Yeah, but who? You know what?
You can't just take one on that defense.
Yeah.
I honestly would have gave it to the field goal kicker the way it was going. I mean, he was the guy nailing it.
I like the punter. I thought the punter did his thing. Yo, to your point, Jules, you talked about Christian Gonzalez, who was amazing in that game.
That kid's legit, bro.
I kept texting Mike Malarzik, friend of the podcast,
all playoffs
about Christian Gonzalez because they passed on him for Forbes. But I'll say this: how about Witherspoon? Yo, when you have one of those corners, a corner that can rush the quarterback, that is just pretty much can cover the receiver, just everywhere. I'm like. That is a really nice cheat code. Not many defenses have it in this league. That corner or that it really is a nice cheat code to have. But I'm like, I still don't want to draft one because I'm like, we're gonna bust them. We're not gonna get the right one.
We got hardball now. Come on now. And listen, that's why the first thing I said about Christian Gonzalez was that I think he's the best cover corner in the NFL. Cover.
Yeah, where Witherspoon was blitzing. You know what I mean?
Right. Witherspoon
was everywhere.
Around corner, and there's differences there, right? So it really does focus on what you want from your defense. But as far as pure cover corner, man, he's got to be top 5. Like
he was great. He prevented like 2 touchdowns in the first half.
Just like some of the ones like that one that he broke up right on the goal line. Man, I thought I was jumping up saying touchdown already. And he just fucking broke on the ball on such an angle that he got there like perfect time. And I was like, wow.
Everybody would probably say the best corner is probably Surtain. That's where all around corner is probably
all around, maybe. Yes. Look, and I get there's a couple other names, but man, that's why I said like covering wise, he's got to be in the conversation. He did it on the biggest stage. Like I get JSN was a little nicked up for some odd reason, but like. You know what? He just fucking did it on the biggest stage and was making plays that I would thought was surefire touchdowns. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he's breaking it up.
I gotta tell you though,
he had to throw a lot of balls.
How about the Drake May pass to Matt Collins over there in the end zone? That was a beauty. He lobbed that sucker up there right in the breadbasket.
It was nice in garbage time, Vin. We always love to see that.
Yeah, but at least let Drake May got. You know what though? At least he got something going. They got a couple touchdowns in that fourth quarter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a little bit.
Then he had the interception. They did have a little juice going. There was a little juice going at one point.
Yeah, I think the NFL was like, we need to make it somewhat exciting. Can we do a little fake thing at the end? Fact is, we had two whack ass quarterbacks playing the Super Bowl. That shit was boring to me. I don't give a shit. What do you guys think? All right. Anything else with the Super Bowl, guys? Or you want to move on to the Hall of Fame snub?
Yeah, I guess there's no reason to comment on this halftime show and all the nonsense going on with
Now,
that.
we'll say if you want to come on the Mix It Up podcast and hear all
There you
what I
go.
got to say about that, you can take a look. And
Quick
I will
pause
say
on the mix
I did text a bunch of people. This is the clock has begun that the New York Giants are not a clown and irrelevant organization anymore. That we're all led by John Harbaugh. We will be on everybody's watch. So I let everybody know, like the Giants are back, and we are not going to
Looks
be
like
this
it.
irrelevant clown show we've been for the last 15 years. We're coming, baby. Oh yeah, we're coming.
Okay, Vince, did you want to talk about that? We won't talk about the Hall of Fame yet. We'll talk a little bit about Giants and the Harbaugh first before we get into the Hall of Fame because Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo were at the Super Bowl and they were just acting like absolute lunatics. They're like Bud and Buddy. It's like they're brothers from like a different mother or whatever.
So with the
However
same
you say
sweater,
that.
they were wearing the same sweater.
The same cordier sweater. They look like a bunch of white kids that went to like this Harvard University or some shit. They acted all crazy. Scatterbo's licking the glass, yelling at people. They're both saying we're gonna get a ring. Just love to see that togetherness, that bond they're forming. And Jackson Dart, I heard him on an interview saying he talks to Harbaugh like every day. So that's definitely like he's building that relationship with them. And then, you definitely like to hear about all this positive stuff instead of all the negative stuff we've been dealing with for the last 10 years plus. That's all I got to say about that.
I don't have much to say about that. I think Jackson Dart arrived already. Like I think he's got the potential, I'll say it very carefully, to be one of the better quarterbacks in the NFC. Right? He's got it. He's got the moxie. He's got the confidence. He's got the ability. Right? But we've seen it so many times in the past that guys fit that description and it just doesn't work out. Right? So there is still that what if factor there. There is, he's going to have to transition to a second offensive coordinator. He's under a whole different regime. You know what? He's going to be more of a disciplinarian type coach. Someone who's not going to deal with all this fanatics and drama and fun shit. But at the same time,
it does feel different, right?
It definitely feels different. But like I also don't. I don't feel like that I have to worry about that. I don't know why. I don't think he's the type that where he's gonna rebel against something like this or he's not gonna adapt to it. I think he looks like he comes from a good family. He looks like he's got
his mom is hot.
And she's very articulate as well, right? When she was
words and big words.
He read the penthouse letters. He read them.
It's usually Vinny with the cat's pajamas and the big words.
Articles.
This is crazy. All of a sudden now Jules is learning big words. Amazing on this podcast.
But so hearing some of the shenanigans and them being kids during the off season, to me is okay. I just don't want it, and I don't think I will hear it going on come like August of this year. I just doubt it because they're not where Harbaugh guys are.
I agree.
So let them have their fun now. Let Scatterbo go to fucking WWE and do stupid shit for the time being, as long as he doesn't fucking hurt himself. Let Dart fucker walk around with his Instagram model girlfriend or whatever the fuck she does. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And let these kids be kids. And if they can enjoy themselves during the off season and flip the switch when it comes to the regular season, God bless. Let's go.
All right. I'm with that. All right. So
let's talk about what Harbaugh's been doing.
Yeah.
He's putting together the staff. Now, I'm a little, defensive coordinator. I'm like, okay. I would have liked a name that I've known, but whatever. It sounds like Harbaugh's more involved with special teams, obviously, and defense. He usually gets a former head coach for his offensive coordinator. The Monken thing didn't work out, and he went to Matt Nagy, who, credit to Harbaugh and Joe Shane. I didn't even know they brought that guy in for an interview. We talked about it on the last podcast. So, I guess I'm okay with it. The one thing that was wrong with Nagy was how he utilized his running backs, which I think we have two, not Scatterbo only, two running backs, Tracy as well. Yo, this guy brought in Greg Roman, who's had a top 5 running game, wherever the hell he's been his entire career, as your run game coordinator. The guy's taking a demotion, basically. And you got him in as your run game coordinator under Nagy,
That
under
balances out, you
Harbaugh.
think?
Yo, I really think like Harbaugh is trying to fill every hole with, all right, well, Nagy's weak here, so I'm gonna bring in Roman, who I have a relationship with. Hopefully they just know egos or anything, like they could work with each other. And I think that's where Harbaugh
Yeah,
steps in. I think Harbaugh, that's where he excels. So then
good point.
I saw the offensive line coach. I like Priscilla, but Priscilla wanted to go with Dable and he left. He went to Tennessee, I think.
Yep.
So I was real nervous about that. He ended up getting the guy from the Browns. Now, a lot of Giant fans are like, the Browns, that sucks, or whatever. This dude, he coached in college, who the players absolutely loved. Bobby Okereke, I think, talked his praises. And then he was also Bill Callahan, who's still in the league, disciple. He was under Bill Callahan for years, and that's like the greatest offensive line coach we've seen in like this era. So I love it. I think that's great. And then I'm hearing there's the quarterbacks coach. They're looking at this dude. Crap, I forgot who it was. They're looking at a quarterbacks coach that turned Joe Burrow into Joe Burrow. So not as an offensive coordinator, but as a quarterbacks coach to come in for Dart in particular, which I think is super duper important that you get him the right quarterbacks coach. So I'm like, I'm keeping an eye on this Harbaugh staff, and I'm like, he doesn't want to get involved with the offense. Supposedly Harbaugh kind of lets the offense run itself, like, and he doesn't really get involved unless he has to. So it's kind of like he's more just in tune with the defense, and I
Interesting.
think we're gonna ground and pound, and we're gonna play defense. We're gonna play old school Giants football, and Dart will be the leader, the manager, and the complement to what our ground and pound is gonna be. And I'm all for it. I am
That's how you
all
win
for it.
in New York in the November and December games. That's how you win football.
Hell yeah, I'm all for it. So far,
I'm
like
with that
Harbaugh,
too.
at first I was a little nervous with what he was doing, and now like in the last week with these hires, I'm like, all right, I can kind of see it. I see the plan. I didn't really understand the plan at first. Now I understand it. I see his vision. I love it.
Well, you know what, Vin, like it's something that I was saying for the last couple of seasons, regardless, that when you bring in a head coach that has this kind of respect, this kind of notoriety, this is what they do. They have the respect of men. They have the respect of their peers that have been in the league for X amount of years. You know what? That kind of shit where you just said, oh, well, I hope their two egos don't clash. Their two egos aren't going to clash for two reasons. One, because John Harbaugh already has an idea of how they will work together, or if they have worked together at some point throughout their entire careers, right? And two, when you have that kind of system and culture in place, that shit ain't gonna happen. It just doesn't happen. When there's the right culture, the right person in place, and the right attitude, there's no need for that. They do what their job is. That's it. His job is to make that running game more effective throughout the whole season and make everyone from Tracy to Scatterbo to whoever the hell else we have in that running back room better. That's it. That's his fucking job, and I think he's gonna get it done. And Matt Nagy, listen, he's been around the league and doing different things, but hopefully you're right about what you were just saying about them trying to bring in this sort of quarterback coach
I
whisperer.
got it. I got his
That
name.
just
I
adds
got
to
it.
it.
The Giants are interviewing former Titans head coach Brian Callahan for their quarterback coach job. He served the same role with the Lions and the Raiders from 2016 to 2018 before heading to the Bengals as their OC for 5 years. He's credited with turning Joe Burrow to Joe Burrow at the NFL level.
And isn't he the Brian Callahan that took over the Raiders that lost to fucking Gruden's Bucks that year after Gruden left
They said he was
from
with the Lions and the Raiders from 2016 to 2018.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out who he is off the top of my head. But yeah, listen, that's also speaks word because there has been rumors that Nagy didn't develop Fields the way he should have. Great. Let's bring in a guy that can develop Dart. Right. And that's what your job is, make Dart better, make Winston better, make him a better back. Right. You know what I mean? And when you have all those pieces working together, the clashing does not happen because of who? The head coach. I tell everyone all the time. I don't care what sport it is. There is no bigger impact from the head fucking guy in any sport that there is in football. Period. Fucking stop.
Listen,
That is the all be all. I don't care when anyone, and then you can argue with that with me any day of the week.
Nagy took Mitch Trubisky to the playoffs twice, so I'm really not worried about the comparison with him, Justin Fields, all these guys. Sometimes a quarterback, I think one of you guys texted me, sometimes a quarterback just sucks. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Speaking of that, though, I do want to ask you a question about Harbaugh. I want to get your opinion on this. I know we all, think obviously like John Harbaugh got fired technically, but do you think there was like a rift between like Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson where Harbaugh's like, I don't think Lamar Jackson is going to take us to the promised land. And he's like, I know they're not going to get rid of Lamar. So it's either him or me. And I probably should step away.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying for a bit. That was what it was. And it's like at that point in time, it's well served. Thank you very much. And maybe we need something fresh for our franchise quarterback. It happens. It happens all the time.
I don't blame Baltimore owner because I heard everybody in the organization wanted to retain Harbaugh, but the owner. And the owner is not one known to get involved. He marched downstairs and gave Harbaugh his walking papers. To choose the quarterback over the coach happens all the time. So and I understand that. I understand the business of that. As great as Harbaugh is. So
Glad it happened.
I feel like Baltimore might be fine. They might be all right because Lamar is still there, and we'll see. But this is uncharted territory now for Harbaugh. He's coming into the much larger media market where we're kind of looking at him as the Messiah. We're looking at him as the savior. And if he starts off at like 1-3,
don't say it, don't put that out there in the universe.
I'm putting it out there because they don't deserve.
We don't even know what the schedule looks like. We haven't even gone through the draft. Bro.
I'm just saying.
Let me get to that first.
What if I'm talking what happened if he?
All right. On the first 4 games against fucking playoffs.
I'm saying if he starts off slow, can I just say
what if the first 4 games consist of like the Eagles, the Broncos, and fucking
doesn't matter.
Patriots or something? What do you mean?
Seattle twice.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. We might get Seattle in the first.
All right, so Vin,
we get Seattle twice.
I like living it. I like living this.
Let me just finish it. So if he starts off slow, the media is going to murder him.
No, they're not.
I don't think he gets a grace period.
Okay, so wait, hold up. Here's what I'm going to throw at you. So if the first part of the season, let's say 6 games, is against 5 of them are against playoff teams, okay? 5 of them, let's just say, because the schedule looks like there's some teams out there that could be a realistic statement. And say he starts off 2-3 or 1-4, okay? But the back end, the remaining 12 games are winnable teams that were under 500 and whatever, and he wins 8 of those. It's a bad season. He went 8-4 to finish it.
You missed my
and I'm being low on that.
You missed my whole point.
What I'm trying to say is the media can't rip into it.
Yeah,
you
can't. They will rip into him. In the moment, what if he loses? Wait a minute. What if we lose those games like we did this year by like a game we should have won against a better team?
Oh my God! Dude.
Oh, look at that head wobble.
What if I walk outside and I trip over a fucking briefcase full of money?
No, it's crazy that you have this
really, bro.
It's crazy.
How many warnings do we got to throw into
the New York fan base had booed Mariano Rivera. If you don't think, nobody's untouchable in this town. Are you kidding me? New York is a media
There's a lot of assholes.
Savages. Fans and savages. They want results. Giant fans want results.
Because of this, I had to look it up, okay? The opponents for the New York Giants in 2026 are the now Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks.
We might play them the first week.
The NFC Championship fucking runner-up, right, to that in the LA Rams, okay? The Jacksonville Jaguars, the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, we got the West.
The fucking the Philadelphia Eagles twice. The Houston Texans, okay? The Colts. And then our regular fucking division. Bro, what are you talking about? We could walk into a gauntlet to start this season, all right? When you're playing all these teams, we could be in the West.
So he gets a pass?
Year.
He gets a pass?
I'm not saying he gets a pass.
That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing.
Hold on. But what I'm trying to say is that the Seattle Seahawks might have a hard time running through that. Okay? And they just won a fucking chip. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so like you have to, you can't just, you have to do apples to apples and oranges to oranges, right? If we start off the season and that Western division is somewhere maybe week 8 and beyond, and the first part of the season we're playing the Browns, the Saints, the Cardinals, Washington, Dallas, okay? And you play that part of your season to start, and he starts off slow, then he deserves to get a boost. He deserves whatever comes his way because the rest of the season is going to be even more brutal. And what kind of a season are we going to have?
What about how we lose?
Oh my God.
Nah, we did that already. No, because many motherfuckers were happy. We found misery in that too. We lost 1 score games this year.
You don't think if we get our butts whooped by like Dallas week 1, he's gonna get ripped for it.
Guys,
get ripped for it.
Let's just end this.
I'm gonna be like, we got 16
this is not happening.
Left.
This is not happening, guys. We're not going to go.
All right, so
we're not going to be bad. We're going to win every game to start off the season.
I want us to go 1-0. That's what I'm looking at. 1-0.
We're going to be a playoff team. We're going to the Super Bowl. God damn it! You guys are crazy.
The Harbaugh family is really growing because one thing that sort of went under the radar. We talked highly just a few moments ago about the kicker, the punter, right, and how their special teams was excellent. Well, it turns out that Jim Harbaugh's son is the special teams coach of the Seattle Seahawks, Jay Harbaugh. So
get him,
Jim, man. Maybe he's following his uncle's footsteps there, right? We're going to be the special teams coach. But
anybody you guys like in free agency, or still too early?
Still too early, Vin. We'll talk about that. Yeah, we'll talk about that in probably another month when we come back on.
Looking at
okay, here's another one. Franchise tags start the 17th
next month, I think, right?
February 17th. Next week.
That's when we'll come back on to talk. We'll come back a week before that. So
I just want to ask you one thing. If you had to tag anybody on the Giants, who would you tag? If you use the tag.
Jackson Dart. I'll tag him right now for the next 10 years.
Do you tag Wandale? Do you tag Wandale?
I said yes.
I tag Illuminor. If they can't, I mean, obviously that depending on
getting
a deal done.
You know what? The numbers I saw were a lot lower.
It's not bad.
To Jules's point weeks ago, I think we could get him. We could get him signed.
Right. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
I don't want to tag Flott. I don't want to tag him.
No,
I wouldn't either.
The only one I would consider tagging is Wandale, possibly. I don't even know if I'm okay with Wandale going. I really am. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go draft the receiver.
We'll see.
We'll see. Let's see how the NFL draft is looking.
Well, first steps first. We got to figure out who we're tagging, if we're tagging anybody.
Yeah, right. Maybe everybody wants to come back on, some nice deals. We could work some out. We don't even need to use the tag. We never know.
You never know. I mean, and you're right. Listen, I'm 50-50. But look, if you could use the tag, like let's say we do get a nice deal with Illuminor, which, again, think about it. He was very serviceable and he was very productive and he likes being with the Giants. It's not like he's a huge name that everyone's going after. You know what I mean? So we could get him back for a good, decent contract. And then it does run down to where it's like, okay, then who are you going to tag? And maybe you do tag a Wendell and still draft a receiver because you're only tagging them for that 1 year. And then you'll have those guys on rookie contracts for another 2 years. So why the fuck not?
The tag might make a lot of sense for Robinson. Might make a lot of sense for him.
A lot to think about. We got a month to get into that.
Oh, sorry, it's too early.
Way too early. We're gonna be going back and forth for the next month about that one. But we got to talk about. Well, first off, I just want to make a point. There's only one person on a New York team that I ever booed because I'm like a true fan. I root for my guys. I'm not an asshole fan that just.
Can I guess? Can I guess?
Guess him. He's on the Giants.
On the Giants that you booed.
That I booed, yeah.
I boo anybody. I'll boo Santa Claus.
Well, you're sick. You're sick.
Matt Dodge.
You got it.
Did I really?
That motherfucker. If I could have broke every TV in my house.
I was at that game.
Oh my God. I booed that guy. I was looking for his address on the internet. Like it was fucking crazy. Like that.
You never saw that guy ever again. You never saw him ever again.
No, dude, he's selling he's at a Dodge dealership. He's selling fucking Dodge Neons.
Coughlin was going to murder him.
That dude's face got so red. I thought Coughlin was I thought he's having a heart attack.
Yo, Trainer, do you remember we won like 10 games that year?
Yeah, we were going to the playoffs.
And we go to the playoffs.
We were going there. It was fucking crazy.
It was unbelievable.
That fucking comeback by the Eagles just totally destroyed me. I've always hated the Eagles.
Me too.
Always hated the Eagles growing up. I remember Randall Cunningham, 5-second hammer. I remember
Sean Jackson is a piece of garbage.
But
Reggie White.
Dude, but Randall Cunningham pissed me off one time because it was like 4th down. It looked like they were going for it. And Randall Cunningham just punted it like 90 yards down the field. I'm like, what is this shit? I'm like, I could never get it out of my mind. It's permanently in there. I could grab it anytime I want to. But anyway, we got to move on. We got to talk about some
What do you mean he punted it? I don't know this. He punted
Randall Cunningham was such an asshole.
Oh, yeah.
We thought he was going for it on 4th down. We're like, we're going to stop him now. And then he just punted
the quarterback punted it?
And he pinned us on the 1 yard.
He punted it like 75 yards, too.
I gotta look that up.
Fucking wind.
Anybody who's never seen it before, I'm sure you can find that shit on YouTube or something.
Yo, was that a regular season game?
Yeah, it was regular season, but it was just
my God.
Fucking pissed me off, man.
And they were raving about it. Oh, this guy can do everything.
Yeah, he's fucking everything. He's fucking throwing it 90 yards. He's kicking it 80. Like
he's running back. In those days, he was still running for like a gazelle shit.
And he's such a skinny little bastard. He get out of sacks all the time, and it's just so frustrating, man. Fuck that guy. Well, listen, we got to talk some talk. You guys are not going to like this because I was talking to Vin about the Hall of Fame with Eli Manning getting, I put in quotes, snubbed for the 2nd year in a row, but I'll play devil's advocate. Listen, I'll start off. I'm like, I love Eli, diehard Giants fan. I love Eli Manning. But do I believe he was a first or even a second ballot Hall of Famer? I have to admit, no. And I'll tell you why. Jules, I was talking to Vin about this right before he came on. And I was just saying, look at the comparison just between him and his brother. It's like night and day. Peyton Manning belongs in the Hall of Fame, right? So now me and Vinny pulled up a list of like these Hall of Fame quarterbacks that are already in right now. And I tell you, like, who would you take out and put Eli Manning in? Let me just send you a bunch of names. Peyton Manning, Dan Marino, Joe Montana, Warren Moon. The old guys like Johnny Unitas.
Why do I got to take some
Elway, Brett Favre, Bob Greasy, like all these old guys, Jim Kelly. These guys deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. We all know this. So who do you compare Eli to that for a quarterback that's in the Hall of Fame now that you would replace him? I was thinking maybe Kurt Warner or Steve Young that's in the Hall of Fame right now. Like maybe that's my comparison. I don't know, Jules. I don't know how Eli Manning really does deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. I got to be honest. I don't think he does.
Blasphemy. It's blasphemy that you even say that.
I know, like I feel
like
he
doesn't boo, but he doesn't boo his fucking players.
I feel like I got brainwashed.
You think?
I mean,
you were hanging out with our friend Malozic?
I mean,
it sounds like it.
I'm telling you, but like I have to be honest. Like nobody, you can't just throw everybody in. And remember,
make a case?
look at Peyton's numbers. He was throwing 55 touchdowns, 5,000 yards a year. Eli had like a couple really good years. Obviously, the second playoff run was just ridiculous. But you have to look back. Like they wanted Eli out early on in his career. The New York papers wanted him and Coughlin gone. And I know fantasy football is not really relevant for this, but remember, Jules, we're playing fantasy football. I was always getting Eli Manning because nobody was drafting Eli Manning in the 1st or 2nd round. I always got him late because I wanted him, so it's hard for me to say because Eli maybe it's a product of playing in New York in Giant Stadium where you had to run the ball too. Maybe that has a part of doing it. We're not putting up the numbers. I think Vin, you said because Peyton played in the dome. Some of these other guys
playing outside, and he's very pedestrian.
It's tough, but I just don't think
you want me to run a real argument with this?
I'm sorry.
All right, let's go with Peyton. Who was Peyton's receivers throughout his career?
Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison,
Demarius
Dallas Clark.
Oh, wow. Okay, wait.
Pierre Garcon.
What was another quarterback you threw at me? What was another one? I'm sorry. Who was another quarterback we threw out there that, trainer's fucking quarterback list that I lost?
Let trainer give it to you.
Yeah. Give me who's the second guy? Who
do you want? Dan Marino?
Skip Dan Marino because he never won a Super Bowl.
Skip
Elway.
Okay. Elway had some receivers.
I mean, Eli did too. He had fucking 3 of the best ones. Hakeem Nicks, Victor Cruz, Toomer, Plaxico. Yeah, Odell Beckham. Dude, Odell
Great,
Beckham. First of
dude.
all, if Toomer was our best fucking wide receiver,
Yes,
he was nasty.
but that's hold up, pause right there. Amani Toomer is the best wide receiver the Giants organization's ever had.
No
Fuck
Hall of
Odell
Fame.
Beckham.
No Hall of Fame.
Okay, not in the Hall
Plaxico,
of Fame.
Odell Beckham.
Like, does he like?
Look
What
at
does he
the
have? Maybe a
numbers.
Pro Bowl? Maybe a
Hakeem
Pro
Nicks,
Bowl?
Victor
I don't
Cruz,
even
Baron
know.
Manningham.
But
Shockey.
the point is, all of those legendary quarterbacks you mentioned, they all had sensational receivers.
So did Eli.
Sensational.
So did
Guys
Eli.
that would do shit in and out every year, 100 catches, 90 catches, 1,000+ yards, 10 touchdowns, or around those numbers every fucking year. Okay? Brady explodes from being a managing quarterback relying on his defense to having one of the best teams ever in history when he got who? Randy Moss. Oh my God.
Wes Welker.
Well, I'm just saying, but you know, when he
Edelman.
became that fucking year, right?
Edelman.
Like, bro, like every
Amendola.
one of these guys.
Amendola. They had
Gronkowski.
every quarterback had guys. They have to
Had
have
great
guys.
guys.
You know, they go
Well,
hand in hand together. You just
Yeah,
can't.
but that's the point. And
make
we're talking
losers.
about Victor Cruz, who was undrafted. You're talking about Amani Toomer, bro.
Dude,
And we had
Toomer was
Odell.
nasty.
Odell was getting towards the end of Eli's career, and Odell was up and down. He was a fucking head case. He's fighting the fucking kicking tent. He's having beef with corners and shit on the Carolina.
Idiot.
Yeah, oh, come on, bro. Yeah, they had Jeremy Shockey for a little bit, but the Super Bowl run, Shockey was watching from the fucking stands.
Kevin Boss, baby.
Yeah, Kevin Boss. I mean, bro, you fucking kidding me with these names?
Ballard.
Come on, dude. Like,
You guys are saying these guys are just like second-class citizens.
You were saying Steve
we
Young.
had great guys.
Steve Young had Jerry fucking Rice, man.
Who's that?
Yeah, exactly. Kurt Warner had Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt with Marshall Faulk in the backfield.
And Larry Fitzgerald and Anquan Bolden in Arizona.
And Larry Fitz when he went to Arizona.
And Anquan Bolden.
Yeah, and Anquan Bolden who had this insane.
Well, that's who I would compare. Eli, I would take Kurt Warner out and replace with Eli. That's how I would put those two.
Kind of like what the Giants did.
But not everybody gets in there. Go ahead, man.
All right, trainer. Give me 4 minutes here because I'm going to
4.
I'm going to convert you back. I'm going to convert you back to Eli going in as first ballot.
Good luck. I hope you do it.
Stats wise, he retired top 10 in all passing yards, touchdowns, all that. He had all that going for him. He played outdoors. He played in New York media. He was the Iron Man. He never missed games. He had the 2 playoff runs. He was on the road in those playoff runs and went through a gauntlet like Seattle did. He went on those runs. He won those 2 championships without a top 10 defense both those years. As many people say the defense won those championships, no, they weren't even top 10 defenses.
The first year they did. Those NASCAR package was ridiculous.
I don't think it was a top 10 defense. Look at it. They were not a top 10. They were always hurt throughout the year and stuff. They got healthy at the right time. He had the 32nd ranked run game in the second Super Bowl run. And he won. Like, the guy was the constant. He won, and he won with a horrific GM. To go to Jules' point, he didn't play with any Hall of Famers. He played with Michael Strahan at the tail end of his career. Everybody else was not a Hall of Famer. Were there some solid players? Sure. But there wasn't anything special that, like, Pittsburgh had going on. The Patriots had going on. There was a lot of star power that Eli never had. Jerry Reese was a horrific drafter. And then once that offensive line got old, that's when Eli really struggled. Now, the knocks on Eli. Eli was an easy punching bag, was the shadow to Peyton because his older brother was gaudy with the stats. But if you look at their playoff numbers, I'll take Eli's playoff numbers any day. Are you kidding me? You also have, what else? He won Man of the Year. He was a good Samaritan. He's great for the sport today. People are coming around to his personality. They used to call him Stupid Face and all these looks. He was inconsistent. His clutch gene. I didn't even talk about how clutch the guy was in the fourth quarter comebacks. The guy was like no short-term memory. He would throw an interception on like a horrific pick 6 or something.
That's what I mean.
He would come right back and shove it down your throat like with a touchdown. The guy was amazing. He played up. He played down. He was a little bit inconsistent, but you know what? That's the NFL. What hurts Eli High interceptions numbers canceled out because look at Brett Favre, look at Aaron Rodgers, look at Tom Brady. Not Tom Brady. They have a lot. They have a lot of interceptions. Patrick Mahomes today, Josh Allen. They have a lot of interceptions. So interceptions take it out. The only thing that really hurts Eli is that regular season record. That it's at 500, and even that I say is a product of what it was around him. He couldn't uplift as much as he could. You know what I mean? The guy played his ass off. He was great for the game. And he was dead on accurate a lot of times. Like the guy was reliable and then he beat a perfect team. That team was supposed to go down as the best team that football ever saw, and he stopped that. You know who he threw a touchdown to in that first Super Bowl? Steve Smith. You know, right? Wasn't it Steve Smith? The two best throws in what's it called? Where Manningham's throw, which everybody always forgets, and
Yes.
Tyree scored a touchdown as well. People forget. Like
Yeah,
Eli.
but okay, Vin, let me just play devil's advocate real quick and I'll let you finish. In the first
Oh,
Super
I'm done.
Bowl, in the first Super Bowl, Eli threw it right to Asante Samuel Jr. He should have had the pick right there. It would have been a disaster. He wouldn't have got the first Super Bowl right, and then the papers would have just fucking had a field day with him. He's
That
not the
didn't
good
happen
quarterback.
though.
No, I know, but that's exactly my point. So when you're saying like Eli didn't have all this stuff and
So
other
then
guys
what would have happened
did,
if Russell
it just
Wilson would
didn't
have handed the
happen,
ball
right?
to Marshawn Lynch on the goal line instead of fucking throwing the ball and
That's
making Butler into a
But
hero?
what if Gronkowski makes that catch at the very end of that first
and
Super
he
Bowl?
and he grabs it. Like what
Yeah, like
happens, right?
we
What
could do that all
happens?
day, trainer. We
But
could do
that's
that
Yeah,
but
we
with
could do
no,
that.
anything.
but you guys are saying like, well, Eli didn't have this. Well, what if they did have this? And what if this
Okay,
I'm
other
so
talking
wait,
about
quarterback didn't have
I'll
personnel.
throw
I'm
a
this?
talking about
different, I'll throw a
players.
But
different
that's what I'm
variable
saying.
out.
You're like it's like a lot of what ifs you're
I'll
saying.
throw a different variable out there.
I'm saying you got
Because
to look at the stat and all that shit now. You
if
can't
you
look at what
truly
ifs.
wanna, if you truly want to make a comparison, different errors, of course, but if you truly want to make a comparison, there's only one player that comes to mind. Okay. And there's out of every quarterback that's won two or more Super Bowls,
Troy
there's
Aikman.
two or more Super Bowls that have won two or more Super Bowls. Okay. This is what the question is. There's only two guys that are not in the Hall of Fame. Eli Manning
Plunkett.
and Jim fucking Plunkett. Okay. Now, the knock on Jim Plunkett is very similar. 500 win record, life career. Okay. So did Eli Manning. Playoffs, did very well. Maybe not a playoff run comparable to Eli's, but did very well. They both have Super Bowl MVPs. Major outlining difference. Jim Plunkett threw 164 touchdowns to 198 fucking interceptions. Okay.
Ugh.
Where Eli Manning threw 366 to 244. There's no comparison anymore. You understand? So all that talk about the fucking interceptions being high and leading the league a couple of seasons out of his career in interceptions and all that bullshit, at the end of the day, he still threw 115 more touchdowns than he did interceptions. He still won two Super Bowls and he still hold playoffs records, right? Like,
Why are you talking about Jim Plunkett though? I don't understand.
because Jim Plunkett
He
is
won
the
two
only
times
other
and is
quarterback
not in the
who's
Hall of
won
Fame.
two or more
Oh
Super
yeah, I
Bowls
mean
than
he don't
everyone.
deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
But the point is that that's the only guy that can be compared to Eli Manning right now in
Okay.
sports. Okay, he's the only one. And when you look at some of their overall regular season records, it's different. Yes, they both have win-loss. They're 500. They're both 500 quarterbacks in that sense. But his fucking interceptions to touchdowns, bro, he threw 45 more interceptions than he threw touchdowns.
Well, listen, if Jim Plunkett was in the Hall of Fame right now, then I'd be like, why ain't Eli in it? That's what I would say.
Well, listen, he was a strong candidate to make that senior class last year. Now they gave it to Roger Craig this year, so his name is still floating around.
Yeah, his name is.
with the
I've read it.
possibility of him making that senior, whatever. Still don't get that, to be honest with you.
Me neither. That's stupid.
I
I
gotta
think it's
tell
like
you,
that
though.
ship has sailed, you know?
I gotta tell you, though,
I don't get that one. Boy.
I have a conspiracy theory. I don't think they want to make Eli's stupid face into one of those brown statues in the Hall of Fame. I think that's what it is.
I think honestly, I have one guy to blame. About a few months before Eli was going on the ballot, Deion Sanders went on a fucking tour to ruin Eli's name. Why? I don't know. He was just like there should be a special room for us elite guys because they let anybody into the Hall of Fame. He planted that seed in everybody's freaking heads who already had questions about Eli.
I
And then when
remember
Eli
that.
was up, I'm like, the first battle was his best shot. This year,
That
I
shit
knew
was.
Drew Brees was going in. I don't know if you guys saw the battle for next year. Next year, Roethlisberger's up. They're gonna put Ben in, and they're not gonna do two quarterbacks. They're gonna put Ben in. I don't
Yeah.
know why. I really don't know why Coughlin's waiting. Like I don't know what's
Well,
going on
Belichick
there.
got dissed.
And then you got Belichick on top of all that, which they're catching a lot of. Did you see Rodney Harrison go at Tony Dungy?
Yeah,
And
it's like
Tony
your
Dungy
offense
like
ain't shit.
fumbled it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
he
Like he
got
was
him.
like, "You guys screwed up," and Dungy was like, "Oh, we did it together" and stuff like that. You idiot! And I personally don't think Tony Dungy was. He was a good coach, but I'm like, Belichick would eat you for lunch. You kidding me? Like,
And
I
he
don't
did.
understand what it is that they're
He
doing there.
did a lot.
He did. Yeah, that's
You know
the
what I
point.
mean? So I'm just I don't know. I just find it like weird now, and I feel like Eli's gonna be made an example out of. Like I'm
Well,
sad.
listen,
I'm sad for Eli. He's my favorite player of all time. I'm completely biased, but
Of
the dude
course, I get it.
deserves to be in. He
and,
deserves. Flynn deserves to
and
be in.
the last point to that is that all
I
this shit
get
is
it.
turning into politics at this point. It really is. All right, like it has to have like a fan base following. There has to be some kind of political drive. You take a look at Puka Nakua's season and JSN. It's hard to compare the two, but Puka had a better season. He beat him in two of the three major categories. How did fucking JSN beat him for that award? I can't understand it. And Drake May was that much of a runner up to fucking Stafford? How, bro? Where? Where? You saw it in the fucking playoffs. Stafford went toe to toe with that Seattle defense 3 times this year and put up crazy numbers. And Drake May looked fucking mediocre against them. I mean, period.
Maybe it's kind of like how Josh Allen won the MVP over Lamar last year.
No,
Yeah,
he's
right.
not.
It's
Oh,
yeah.
he's not.
I know.
Bro, like, yo,
I
listen,
know.
Josh
Look at
beat
those
Lamar.
numbers, Jules.
Yeah,
Right.
but
Look him
Josh
up,
beat him the year
Jules.
before, dude. And then like it's got to go. So here's where I bring back that argument. If you're the MVP, it's because your team cannot win without you. Period. Stop. Okay. That defense, you could have put a veteran quarterback like Kirk Cousins, and he might have made the fucking playoffs with that fucking New England team. Just saying, might have. Okay. You get a good game manager behind that fucking New England defense, and that run game could have got a little bit better.
I
They
agree
might
with
have
that.
won that fucking Super
Yeah, the
Bowl.
run game gave him
I
nothing.
agree
The
with
run
that.
game didn't give him any help at all. They couldn't figure it out. I don't know why they didn't start going to Henderson. He looked a little more
He got killed
effective.
on a couple plays.
Yeah, he looked a little bit more effective than Stevenson was running, and I don't know why they didn't lean on him a little more. I blame that on Vrabel. But still, the point is that they look at these awards more as a popularity contest than they do as actual people who deserve it.
Who
And that's
votes?
what it's kind of coming down to. It's annoying.
Who votes for like the Hall of Fame and shit? Does NFL owners vote for that or no?
No, they have a
Sports
committee of
writers.
like it's like 50 or 100 guys.
Yeah, it's a committee of sports writers.
Oh,
Yeah, I think
that's
it's
all it
100
is.
guys. 100
Same like
guys.
baseball. Same. I think that's every sport. Honestly,
So Dungy is just one of these guys that
Yeah, he's
gets to
one of the
vote.
guys. Yep.
That's weird. Maybe these guys are just jealous that Bill Belichick could get a high young girlfriend the legal way. That's a shot at Steve.
There's a couple
by the way.
tidbits I like the NFL to change too. The whole award thing, I like it to be closer to when the regular season's over so they can match it to the regular season. I'm a fan of that. So because people like start seeing
Yeah.
the playoffs, and if like Matt Stafford got horrifically like thrown out in the first round in the wild card round, they'd be like, "Oh, Matt Stafford doesn't get to the MVP." It's the regular season, Dick.
Exactly.
It's not, you know what I mean? So I wish they would do that. And when it comes to the Pro Bowl, hear me out. This is an idea.
they just blow it up. It's stupid.
No. I think there's a place for the Pro Bowl, but I would make it the Hall of Fame game the next year. Start the year off and get these dudes playing in the Pro Bowl in Hawaii with their liaison, with their families, and that'd be the first game to open up, or maybe Canton, I guess. Do it in Canton. Make that the Hall of Fame game. Make it the Pro Bowl, and you start the year with that. And you let them play a couple plays or whatever. You just make it fun, a fun atmosphere to open the season. I don't know. I thought that one of myself. I think it's a pretty good idea.
I honestly think they should.
I haven't watched any of that shit.
They should.
I didn't see any of it either.
They should do away with it and just make it a skills competition. Like the old school shit where they used to have the throwing contest, who could throw it the furthest.
That I'd watch.
Racing each other. Make it that kind of shit because that would be entertaining and fun. And also, too, it's like,
Yeah,
bro,
I would.
you
I
can't
definitely
have a
agree with
quarterback like Shedeur Sanders even qualifying for
Did
something.
you guys see that the Super Bowl next year is on Valentine's Day? Did they push things back?
Oh no, did
No,
they?
I had to Google it because I couldn't believe it. I thought it was a bunch of bullshit. I
It's on
thought
Valentine's Day.
so. There have ever since they extended it,
There's gonna
there
be
have
18
been
games.
games. They have been games that have been close. They've had game play on the 12th. They've had a game play on the 13th. So it actually just fucking falls this way next year.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
that's what it
Labor
is.
Day. Labor Day is late this year
It
too.
still will be the latest ever game played.
Yeah, because Labor Day is like a week later. Labor Day is like the 7th. So I figured maybe that's why the NFL season is gonna get pushed back. This is based off of Labor Day, right?
Yeah, that's part of it.
I think
Yeah,
that.
it's just weird. It just happens to like this
Oh,
is going to be.
Valentine's Day.
It's
Good
going to be
luck.
the latest
A lot of
NFL game
divorces.
ever played. Period. That's it. That's going to
No,
be
you
the
do what
latest
you got to
game.
do Valentine's Day on the day, and then like what by like 3, 4 o'clock, yo, I gotta go. I want to watch the
Yeah,
game. What's wrong?
right. And
What are
then
we
the
doing?
divorce papers following Monday.
No, it's Valentine's Day. You got anniversaries and
Listen,
stuff.
look. Like for years, right? Everybody always celebrated Christmas Day, right? Christmas Day, Christmas Eve is pretty fucking popular too. You know,
That's a better
do
day.
the night before.
I wish Super Bowl should be really on Saturdays.
I agree.
Or
I
give
forgot
or
who
give.
made such a valid point with that. One of those sports radio guys in New York
I would love
going
that.
on and on and on about it. And it's like you have the week off, right? It's not like they play it like right after the championship games. There's a full fucking week off.
Right,
You
you
can
get
start
plenty of
media day a day earlier. It's not a big fucking deal. And you do it on Saturday. You make it into this huge thing, and everybody's fucking off the next day for the most part. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? At least
Nah,
the majority of people.
They're not
are.
gonna move it because they want that 18th game that the Players Association is not budging on. But we'll see. If there's a weak ass player association in any of the sports, it's the NFL's.
Well, listen,
That's
all I'm saying is if you look worldwide, okay, because I know there was a lot of talk to make it today, make it an extra week later with that 18th game, and then you have President's Day being the next day. Dude,
Yeah.
not everybody works in schools and for government and fucking everything else where they have that Monday off. A lot of us go to work on that Monday regardless. You put it on Saturday, a lot more people are off on Sunday, okay, than they are on President's Day.
Yeah, right.
Okay?
I just
Around the
don't
world,
see-
I'm saying.
I just
around
don't
the
see the
world.
NFL doing that. I just don't see it.
I mean, I don't know why, though. You know,
I
what
don't know
mean?
why either. They
make it into
should.
this show where you could even make the game a little later. You could kick off at 7:30 if you wanted to, which makes it even better for the West Coast. So instead of having to watch a game at 3:30 in the afternoon on a Sunday, they can fucking watch a game at 4:30, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Maybe not too late because you don't want to lose too much of the audience.
Yeah, right.
But you make it an hour later for sure.
Yeah, start at like at 8. That'd be nice around dinner time.
7:30 is nice. You still be done by 11. Good to go.
I agree with
And
that.
it's Saturday, no kids got to go to school. Most of the majority of people around the world, since we're trying to turn this into a global sport, don't have to go to work the next day. I mean, they were showing clips of people
Listen up, NFL.
in all the cities that we're going to play in Munich, in London, in Frankfurt, I think, right? They were showing Brazil. They were showing all these cameras. Some of those dudes, that shit was fucking like 2 a.m. already on Monday morning. They got to go to work in a few hours.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? And they were watching these fucking games. You do it in reverse, shit, they don't got to worry about nothing.
Yeah.
I don't get what that fucking problem is. I agree with Trainer. That's just
Think
a
about the
no-brainer
photos.
to happen on Saturday.
Let's hope it happens. All right, guys. Jules, you want to wrap it up? We'll be back in like a month.
Well, yeah. Well, what didn't you say the tag deadline is you said
17th. So I figure we come on like a week before that or Tuesday before that.
Yeah, I think that let me just I want to get the official one here. NFL tag deadline.
Take a nice month off from the pod.
It's March 3rd. The franchise and transition tag deadline is March 3rd.
I think it starts the 17th.
Yeah, that's what I think. Right, that's what I think they
start.
Starts
17th till
right.
March 3rd.
So somewhere in between there, you'll hear from us again. If the Giants make a tag before then, if not that week of, we'll be there making our plays, and then we'll start doing some previews for what follows next, the NFL draft. It's going to be here before you know it. I feel like every year we sit here doing a Super Bowl recap, and we're like, before you know it, the NFL draft is going to fucking be here. And literally, it's like you fucking go on a little break, fucking have a coffee, and bang, the fucking NFL draft is here.
Time
it's
flies.
so quick. It moves that fast. Congrats one last time to the Seattle Seahawks. They deserved it. Glad they won it. And that's it. Enjoy that fucking Super Bowl because before you know it, we're getting ready for the 2026 NFL season. Let's go, baby. We'll see it. Giants going to be back.
Go Giants.
Go Bulls.